Hey everyone! So you definitely know ChatGPT, right? But the AI world is just exploding. It's gotten so much bigger. Today, we're going to go on a little expedition to meet the top challengers and help you find your next digital co-pilot.
So, right off the bat, here's the big question. Should you just ditch ChatGPT? I know, it's a bold thought. ChatGPT is amazing, we all know that. But is it always the best tool for every single job? Well, that's exactly what we're here to figure out.
I want you to think of this as kind of a guided tour. The AI landscape is way more diverse than it was even a year ago, and we're going to navigate it together. We're going to see what these new frontiers can offer that maybe you're not getting right now.
Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll talk about moving beyond the monolith. Then we'll meet the challengers and have a capabilities showdown. After that, we'll get into the fun stuff, mastering the prompt, understanding your data, their rules, and finally, choosing your co-pilot.
All right, first up, beyond the monolith. Look, ChatGPT is incredible. It really is. It's like the Swiss Army knife of AI. But you know, sometimes you don't need a Swiss Army knife. You need a scalpel. For certain tasks, a more specialized AI can just give you faster, sharper, or way more creative results. It's all about building a full toolkit, not just relying on one single hammer for everything.
So, with that in mind, let's meet the main contenders on our journey today. We're going to focus on three of the most interesting alternatives out there right now: Grok, Claude, and Gemini. And trust me, each one has its own totally distinct personality and a really unique set of skills.
First, we've got Grok. Okay, so think of Grok as that edgy, kind of unfiltered journalist in the room. Its superpower, it has real-time access to the absolute fire hose of information that is the X platform, formerly Twitter. So it's witty, it can be sarcastic, and it's perfect for when you need up-to-the-minute info with a little bit of attitude.
Next up, Claude. Now, if Grok is the journalist, Claude is the thoughtful, super meticulous editor. It is amazing at really nuanced, complex tasks. Why? Because it has this massive context window, which is just a fancy way of saying it can read and remember a huge amount of text at once. For instance, you could literally give it a 200-page document and say, "Give me a one-page summary." That's a task that would make most other models just, choke.
And finally, we've got Gemini, which is Google's big powerhouse. Its main strength, its superpower, is its deep, deep connection into the whole Google ecosystem. So think of it as your ultimate research assistant. It can pull from Google Search, help you plan a trip in Maps, or even draft replies right inside your Gmail. It's all connected.
Okay, introductions are over. Time for the main event, the capabilities showdown. Let's put these three AIs side by side and really see how they stack up against each other.
Now this is where it gets really interesting because you can see just how different they are. Grok is your go-to for anything happening right now because it has zero data cutoff thanks to that LiveX data. Claude, with its giant context window, is the undisputed champ for deep, creative, long-form work. And Gemini, it just shines when you're doing practical, integrated tasks within that Google world. And just look at the tones. You go for witty and sarcastic with Grok, to collaborative and formal with Claude, to helpful and direct with Gemini. Totally different vibes.
So, now that you've met them, how do you actually get the best results? Well, it all comes down to one thing: mastering the prompt. You have to remember, the AI is really only as good as the instructions you give it.
Let's take Claude as an example. To really make it shine, you've got to lean into its strengths. First, give it a ton of context. Feed it that whole report. Second, assign it a really specific role. Don't just say, edit this, say, you are a professional editor for a scientific journal. And third, tell it exactly what format you want back. This idea of being super specific works for all of them, by the way. For Grok, you might ask, what's the latest unfiltered sentiment on X about this new product? For Gemini, you could say, at Gmail, find all emails from my boss this month and summarize the key action items. See? Specificity is key.
Okay, before you jump in and start playing around, we have to talk about something really important: data privacy. How these AIs use your conversations can be really different depending on where in the world you are. So let's do a quick breakdown of what you need to know.
This pretty much says it all. In the US, your data can often be used to train the AI by default, and your rights can change a lot from state to state. But over in the UK, things are different. Thanks to GDPR rules, they often need your explicit consent. You have to opt in, and you have much stronger unified rights over your data. It's just something to be aware of no matter which tool you end up using.
All right, we have covered a lot of ground. We're at the final stage of our expedition, choosing your co-pilot. And remember, the goal isn't to find the single best AI out there.
It's about finding the right AI for what you need to get done.
So, let's boil it all down. Here's your simple takeaway guide. If you need the absolute latest unfiltered hot take on a trending topic, you're going to want Grok. If you're drafting your next masterpiece or trying to make sense of a 100-page document, Claude is your new best friend. And if you're researching, planning, and basically organizing your life inside the Google world, Gemini is the no-brainer choice.
At the end of the day, any AI is just a tool. A really, really powerful tool, but still a tool. The real magic, the real power, that comes from the person using it. It comes from you. So, now that you've met the challengers, the only question left is, which one are you going to master?